heat. Old badges traded for a YouTube beat. Steve behind the lens with a steady hand, telling stories of the law across the land. Lights and sirens fade, but the stories remain. Lessons from the street in a digital domain. LVCopsTV shining bright and true. Bryon, Gonzo, and Steve bringing it to you. Chasing shadows in the Vegas night. Now they teach the world wrong from right. Old scars still ache, but the mission's clear. Through the lens they fight to persevere. Lights and sirens fade, but the stories remain. Lessons from the street in a digital domain. LVCopsTV shining bright and true. Bryon, Gonzo, and Steve bringing it to you.
Whoa, something happened there. Hey, listen, that takes me back to 1980, high school, man. That's the vibes I get. I think Bryon just ejected himself out of the session. We'll see what happens.
Just lost Bryon.
I'm back. You gotta be kidding me.
What'd you do?
I didn't do nothing. I'm sitting here rocking out, and I'm about to say hi to everybody, and bam.
It's the interweb god. Interwebs. Hey, Steve, I got to give you, hold on. I got to give you kudos, Steve. That intro, like I was just saying, takes me back to like 1987 in high school vibe, right?
Yeah.
You got the little Walkman, you got the little things, you're going down the hallway, boo, checking out the chickies, say, hey, what's up? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great song.
Man.
That's a great song.
So, hey, listen, before we start, I got some good news and some bad news. So listen, I went and got my blood work done, did a physical, right?
Right.
The bad news is my cholesterol is off the freaking charts, right?
It's expected.
The good news is, and my doctor said I could do this. He said I could touch myself inappropriately as much as I want. And I got the notes right here. It says right here, it says Nevada Heart Institute says, Mr. Gonzalez, due to your results and your blood work, you could have a stroke at any time. Boom. Boom.
It's from the Heart Institute, idiot, meaning you could have a stroke and die at any time.
I think I read that wrong.
I think you did.
I think I read that wrong. Disregard that, baby. I'm gonna die.
You see what I gotta work with every day? I gotta work with these guys.
A stroke at any time. That's what I. Okay.
Yeah. No,
my bad.
Stroke and die, genius.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Can we get past that? Welcome, everybody.
Good.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome to our Wednesday night, kind of impromptu live.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Man, what? 2 nights in a row. What's going on, man?
We took a break. We took a 1 night break. Yeah.
You got your own YouTube channel we don't know about?
No, it just bleeds in. It just bleeds in, man.
Yeah. Days. Well, when you have 18-hour days like we do sometimes, they tend to blend.
Yeah.
All of AJ's Nichols sent a super chat because I made a mistake in the spelling of Barrows' name. And I did that quite a few times, and I thought I corrected it everywhere, but I guess not. Thank you for giving us a donation and telling me I messed up.
Yeah, you spelled his name. I sent it to you. I sent you the thumbnail.
Oh, I know. I'm sure I spelled it correctly somewhere else.
Yeah, that's okay. I messed up one too. So we're all
once. Now we're even.
Okay. It just happened right at the beginning of this segment. You cut off yourself.
I didn't even touch nothing, man.
So hey, but listen though, I do need to clarify a couple things. I was getting a little bit of hate mail about my comment about the female police officers escalating things. Now, this only happens because when you got a bad guy,
mess up again.
No. When you got a suspect, he's not gonna listen to a girl officer. He doesn't have much respect for him.
Some of
then
them,
you'll say something disrespectful and then the female officer then reacts, right? And it kind of escalates. So it's not that they're not very good; they're good. It just there's a complicated dynamic that happens there.
Right. Let me say this, because I saw some of the comments too, and I said this in the comments, and I actually said to the one person I should have said this on the air. The women cops can escalate things. Yes. Men cops can escalate things too. It's not just women. That question was specifically asked about women cops. Men can do it too. And this is what I'm going to tell you, America, ride alongs. This is not about gender. This is about insecurities.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all it's about. So we're not bashing on the women. We're not bashing on the men. Both sides. But when you ask a question specifically about females, you're going to get that answer.
And the thing is when you're dealing with a suspect, they're measuring you from the get-go.
Yes.
So it's how you carry yourself, how you present yourself. Yeah. Listen, I'm 5'5" and 3/4. I'll say it 5'6". I'll say it 5'6".
I'll give you 5'6". I'll give you 5'6", G.
Right.
It's yours. You're 5'6" now.
But it's how you carry yourself that gives you the respect.
Correct.
Right. And also how you talk to them. Right.
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's how you come at them.
Right. Hey guys, I'm gonna get out, but Bryon, I need to remind you, since you got kicked out, you need to represent the video.
Oh yeah.
And we've got a super chat for you, Gonzo, from Victor. He says, "Just don't stroke it at Sapphires."
Whoa.
Man,
all right, this is
we
gonna
just killed his Friday night
Hey,
plans.
can I tell you something?
Hold on. There we go.
So listen, this is a funny story. OG, right? Olympic Garden, right?
Yeah.
So my first time of being in Vegas, Jerry Barrows goes, "Hey, do you want to go to the OG?" I'm thinking, yeah, man, I would love to go to the OG. I could eat some Italian food. I thought he was talking about the Olive Garden.
Yeah, Olive Garden.
So was I surprised when it wasn't the Olive Garden?
Nothing wrong with Olive Garden. I love Olive Garden.
All you could eat salad bar.
Oh, their salads and breadsticks, so good.
All right. I'm not going to be here all night, guys. I need to go. So in advance, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, mods. Thank you, new members, Monique and Carly. Thank you all for. We just hit 25,000 subscribers, so that's a great milestone. We appreciate. We didn't think anyone would like us, especially Bryon. I mean me. So thank you all, and I'm gonna exit. I'll watch for a little bit and put some stuff on the screen for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
And I will catch you next time. Peace.
Yeah, we're kind of hard to take, right? Most people play hard to get. I play hard to want. You know.
Yeah, I'm just hard to see. So listen, Officer Barros, was he a sergeant on the first go around?
The first trial, he was not a sergeant, I don't believe. Yeah, the second one, he was a sergeant. So here's some of the stuff that, well, you know what, we'll go through it. What I did ride alongs is I put his first testimony in front of the second one, right? So we have two. It's about an hour and 7 minutes. So his first testimony is only about 12 minutes. So wanted you to see what he said last year and what he says this year. And it's pretty close, but there's some things that we need to discuss while it's going on.
All right. Well, let's roll it. Now, are you running the show?
You want me to do it? Sure. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
run
do it. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
You guys ready? Let's do it. Let us know with the volume. I fixed the volume problem. Now it might be too loud. So you guys let us know in the chat how the levels are.
Just hope so. Do you have a script recording during the case down here? It's for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
No
All
more
right,
having
whenever
it.
you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Nicholas
good?
Barrows, Barros,
And how are you employed, sir?
with the town of Dighton.
And what, if any, role or what do you do for the town of Dayton?
I'm a police sergeant for the police department.
Oh, he is a sergeant.
And how long in total have you been a member of the Dayton Police?
In total, started in 2011, 14 years this December.
And how long have you had the rank of sergeant with the Dayton Police?
A year and a half.
Now, if I could direct your attention to January 29th, 2022. Do you recall that date?
I do.
And were you working that day?
I was.
Did you recall what kind of shift you were working on that occasion?
I was working the 8 to 4, the day shift.
And was that the only shift that you had worked on that occasion, or how long had you been on shift by the time you came on for the 8 to 4?
That particular day, I was working from 8 a.m. to midnight. It was on a double.
Double. 16
Now,
hours.
At some point when you first came in, with reference, if you could explain to the jury just briefly or in general terms, when you come on shift for the Dayton Police, what, if any, communication, well, first and foremost, what was your role as far as that particular shift was concerned?
I was the officer in charge that day, from 8 a.m. to midnight. When I came in at 8 a.m., the outgoing shift, the midnight to 8 shift, had advised me that a resident had called the police station on a 911 call requesting a ride to Brockton Hospital to meet his daughter due to her daughter's boyfriend passing away, and he needed a ride due to the snowstorm.
And then, as your shift continues, what, if any, further contact or who, if anyone, reached out to you in regard to that earlier situation?
Later on, I believe it was around 2:30 in the afternoon, I received a phone call from the Norfolk District Attorney's Office with the troopers assigned there, and they had stated that they were going to come to Dayton to retrieve a vehicle that was involved in a homicide.
And did they give you a specific address as far as where they were going?
I believe the address was 345 Country Hill Drive in Dayton, North Dayton.
And with regard to that address, what, if anything, did you recognize between that and the earlier call that you were just speaking of?
That was the address that came up on the 911 call when that gentleman had called earlier on the prior shift.
And at some point, did you come to find out who the resident?
So, G, did you hear that they called in a 437?
Yep.
Right? Assist,
Yeah.
Yeah, assist the citizen, right? Keep the peace. Or assist the citizen. Was
Yep.
that, what was that? Is that a 437? I forget that.
439.
439, assist the citizen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if we'd be picking them up in a snowstorm and taking them someplace. We wouldn't do that now. Ride-alongs, that is normal. We do requests like that when people call. And now they wouldn't call in on 911; they would call in on 311. But we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is too is just so you know, when a shift is coming on duty, they're having briefing, and the sergeant that's on that previous shift will come in and brief the sergeants and the troops of what happened or what to look for that night. So that's where he's getting his intel as well.
Right.
Were at that address on Country Hill Lane?
I did.
Okay.
Who did you find them to be?
It was the Reed residence.
All right. So, Sergeant, I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up, and Mr. Lally, you too. Thank you.
And the Reed residence, was that a William and Janet Reed? Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, as far as you received that call at about 2:30, do you know specifically who you spoke to around 2:30 in the afternoon?
Trooper Michael Proctor.
And as far as that earlier information that you were talking about with the 911 call, what, if anything, from that did you impart to Trooper Proctor?
I advised Trooper Proctor that we did receive a 911 call on the midnight to 8 shift about the resident looking to get a ride to Brockton Hospital.
And during that initial call, how was it sort of left as far as what, if anything, you were going to provide as far as assistance or with regard to the troopers on that first call?
On the first call, the troopers just had asked me if I could meet them at that residence as a courtesy since they were coming into my jurisdiction.
Yep. Normal.
And
Very
what, if
normal.
anything, did they indicate to you as far as where they were or when they felt they would be arriving in that area?
Trooper Proctor advised me that they were heading, I believe, from Canton, and once they were about 10 minutes away, they would recontact me so that I could meet them at the residence.
And subsequently, later in that afternoon, did you receive further contact from Trooper Proctor?
I did.
Do you know about what time that was?
I believe the first phone call was around 3 p.m. that he had called me and said that they would be there in about 10 minutes.
And upon receiving that call, what, if anything, did you do?
I had contacted, Trooper Proctor had asked me to contact our tow company to have them meet us at the residence as well. And I said, once I hung up with him, I would contact the tow company and then respond to that address on Country Hill Drive.
And is there a specific tow company that the Dayton Police uses with regard to towing of vehicles within the town?
During that period, it was Diamond Towing.
And so did you contact someone at Diamond Towing in reference to responding to that address as well?
I did. I contacted the owner and he responded.
Now, as far as that area of Dayton, if you could explain to the jury sort of what you observed as you were coming down towards that residence on that day.
Okay, so when I responded to that address that street is off of 138. When I turned onto Country Hill Drive, I was traveling west. When I arrived on that street, I observed a black pickup truck parked on the street facing east. I was flagged down by that black pickup truck by the driver and was told that they were the troopers that I had spoke to, Trooper Michael Proctor and the other sergeant.
Sergeant that left the room as you were coming in?
Correct.
And what identification did they provide to you in reference to that?
They showed me their ID and their badges.
And then from there, where did you proceed?
I had parked my marked police vehicle at the end of the driveway since it was a snowstorm and we could not get into the driveway. And then we walked up to the residence.
So when you say it was a snowstorm and we couldn't get into the driveway, can you expound upon that a little as far as explain to the jury why it was that you couldn't get into the driveway?
There was about a foot of snow in the driveway.
And as far as that snow that you observed when you arrived there, was that snow, how did that snow appear as far as, did it appear as if it had been shoveled or snow blown or untouched or how did it?
It was untouched.
Now, as you're going through the snow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's yourself, Trooper Proctor, and the sergeant from the state police, and who, if anyone else, is going along with you?
I had an officer that was field training with me that day, and he was with me as well. And we went up to the residence.
And as you're walking up to the residence, what, if anything, did you come upon as you're going towards, say, any door or getting closer to the home?
I remained at the garage. The two troopers went to the front door and made contact with the homeowner.
Now, as far as you were there specifically for a vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe a vehicle in the driveway at any time?
Yes, we observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway.
And what, if any, observations did you make to the rear area of that vehicle specifically?
At first, I did not go up to the vehicle. I just remained at the driveway and waited for the troopers to come back. And once they came back, they were let into the house through the garage. I had walked in with them briefly and then went back out to the garage and remained with the vehicle.
And as far as at any point in time, did you have any conversation with anyone named Karen Reed that day while you were at the house?
I did not.
Now, with respect to you come back out to the garage, is that correct?
Correct.
And the troopers are inside the house, is that also correct?
Correct.
Now, at some point, do other vehicles come down to the driveway area of this residence that you were at?
I had contacted the highway superintendent after speaking with the troopers about how to retrieve the vehicle since the driveway was untouched and had about a foot of snow.
Yeah.
I had made the decision that I would call the highway superintendent and see if that he would come and plow the driveway so that the tow truck would have access inside in the driveway.
And just in reference to this driveway, just if you could, not exact footage or anything, but how close is this Lexus SUV parked in relation to the roadway? How long is that drive?
It's got to be about 150 feet off the roadway, if not more.
And
Long
if you
driveway.
recall, from where you're standing
That is.
at the point of the garage, was what part of the vehicle was facing you? Was it the front of the vehicle, the back of the vehicle, the side of the vehicle? If you know?
I was looking at the left side of the vehicle.
And at some point, did you make any observations of the right rear part of that Lexus SUV?
I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe about that area of the vehicle?
I saw that there was some damage to the right rear taillight. To my best ability and recollection, that taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
And then beyond the taillight area of that vehicle, what, if anything else, did you observe as far as damage to the rear passenger side area?
Like a dent on the rear quarter.
And as far as the dent on the rear quarter of the panel that you saw, was that above the taillight, below the taillight, or something?
It's probably right in conjunction with the taillight in that same area.
And from the time that you made these observations of the vehicle, at any point did you go sort of physically up to the vehicle?
I walked up to the vehicle, correct.
And about how far away from the vehicle did you get?
5 to 10 feet away.
And as far as the sort of outside or exterior of the vehicle, you mentioned obviously there's about a foot of snow on the ground. What, if anything, precipitation-wise or weather-wise, was around or on the outside of the vehicle?
Just snow.
And in particular, in this area of the right rear passenger side and that taillight, was there any snow or ice or anything around that area that you observed?
On the vehicle itself?
Yeah.
Yes, on the vehicle there was snow on the vehicle.
And not to put words in your mouth, but sort of caked on there, is that correct?
You could say that.
I guess you could say caked on, correct.
So you'd reached out to the highway superintendent to have someone come out and plow the driveway, correct?
Correct.
And do you know about how long it was between the time that you made that call and the time that the plow driver came out to clear it?
Less than 10 minutes.
And the sort of clearing of the driveway and the process of that, do you know about how long that took?
I'd say another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And as far as the time that the troopers went into the house, at some point the troopers obviously came out of the house, correct?
Correct.
You know about how long it was that they were inside of the house?
More than 30 minutes, less than an hour.
Now, at any point in time that while you were there, did you yourself or did you see anyone else touching or making any contact or manipulating or anything in that rear passenger side area of either the taillight or the dent that you
I did not.
I'm sorry.
I did not.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay, cross-examination. All right, Sergeant Barrows, you are all set, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was trial one. Right? It was only 12 minutes. I only kept the parts that I thought were kind of pertinent for what we're going to watch next, which was that Officer Barros, right? He admitted to having a trainee. Gee, where was this trainee in the trial? Why was he not subpoenaed to come in and testify of what was going on?
Well, I'm thinking maybe he didn't get out of the car, but I mean, when I was an FTO, my trainee was in my back pocket.
Your trainee is married to you. Like,
Yep.
Everywhere you go, they go. They're your shadow.
Yep.
So he should have been subpoenaed. So
Maybe they questioned him. Maybe he said, I didn't see Jack Dilly's squad, especially if you're in phase one, because you're phase one, you're like a deer in the headlight, dude. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you don't know shit.
You know?
Okay. So he saw Karen's SUV.
Yep.
He saw damage to the right rear taillight. Right. It was cracked, and a piece was missing. But the piece was only, he said it was about 3 inches. Okay.
Yeah.
The dent to the quarter panel, the rear corner panel, and they were inside the house for over 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, Karen let him in the house because she had nothing to hide.
Yeah.
You know, nothing like Bryon over there didn't even come out or didn't even do nothing. So one thing I want to say is he stood out there for 30 minutes, right?
Mhm.
You didn't hear him complain about how bad the snow was or how bad it was snowing, just that there was a lot of it, right?
Yep. It's because it's
This
your
guy's-
job. You suck it
guy's
up and
pretty, yeah. This guy's pretty cool, calm, and collective so far.
yeah, you do your job. That's what you do. Right.
Yeah,
Lower the volume on that bitch and shut up and do your job.
exactly.
All right, let's get into the next one. This
This
one,
is today.
this is
Today's video.
Yeah.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Good afternoon. All right, Mr. Jackson, you are all set.
Thank you,
You
Your
let us
Honor.
know about
Good
the volume
afternoon,
on
sir.
this
How are
one,
you?
Good afternoon, sir.
Could you please state your full name, spell your last name for the jurors, please?
Nicholas Barrows, Barros,
And where do you currently work?
the town of Dayton Police Department,
How long have you worked for the Dayton Police Department, sir?
since 2011.
And what's your position there currently?
Currently, I'm a sergeant.
What's your duty assignment as a sergeant? What do you do?
I supervise the 4 to midnight shift.
We'll get to that in a little bit more detail in just a second. A couple of more foundational questions. How long
short
have you been a
summary.
police officer altogether?
Since 2011, so going 14 years.
And what education and training and background do you have that qualifies you to do your duties as a sergeant, a supervisor at the Dayton Police Department?
I completed the police academy. I hold a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I've been to many trainings as
Classes.
a police officer and as a supervisor.
He meant classes.
When did you get your bachelor's degree?
2012.
Is the Dayton Police Department an autonomous police department for the city? In other words, is it a branch of, say, for instance, Massachusetts State Police, or is it an autonomous department?
It's on its own.
Okay. It's not in any way connected to the Canton Police Department, I presume?
Correct.
Is it in any way connected to the Massachusetts State Police
It
Department?
is not.
As a supervisor, are part of your duties to oversee subordinate officers in their daily fare, whatever that may be?
Yes.
Does that include anything having to do with crime scene investigation,
To an extent.
witness interviews?
No, that would be the detective bureau.
What about working and coordinating with detectives?
To an extent.
Collection of evidence or working with detectives as they collect evidence?
They would collect evidence.
Maintaining crime scene protocols, things of that nature?
Correct.
All right. As a sergeant with the Dayton Police Department, are you a trained observer?
I am.
Would you consider all of your subordinates, the patrol officers, day-to-day officers, are they also trained observers?
They are.
Is that part of policing?
It is.
Describe that a little bit for the jurors so we understand.
We are in the police academy. We're told to watch everything. It's our heads on a swivel. We are always looking because we don't know what the unknown is.
When you say you don't know, is it true that you don't necessarily know what might become relevant later
Correct.
that may be needed in court?
Correct.
Yeah.
I want to draw your attention to January of 2022, a few years ago. January 29th, 2022, did you have any, you personally, officer, did you have any personal relationship with the Canton Police Department?
I did not.
Did you have any personal relationship with a trooper from the Massachusetts State Police named Michael Proctor?
I did not.
Do you have any relationship with a person by the name of Brian Higgins, an ATF agent?
I did not.
Do you have any relationship with a Boston police officer known as Brian Albert?
I did not.
I'm going to pause it right there, Brian.
All right. What you got?
Completely independent, right?
Mhm.
He's a completely independent officer who sounds like he's got some good training behind him, right? Like we all do, right? We got all
Yep.
these classes that we take. We go to the shoot house or the sim house and we run scenarios. Hey,
Yep.
I think I'm froze, but anyway, oh, here we go. So remember this scenario when we were going through training where they have this big room, right?
Mhm.
And they pull the curtains and they give you 10 seconds to see what's in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to, and there's 10 weapons that are in there. You have to be able to at least identify 7 or you do another scenario,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when they say trained observer, that's what happens. You go through scenarios and they flash you a scene and you have to take a mental picture of what you see quickly,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And be able to regurgitate it to the training officer.
Mhm.
So it's something that it's a skill that you have unless you have photogenic memory, right? Which I don't. But those are
Photographic.
things that right. What did I say?
Photogenic,
Oh, geez.
which means your memory looks really good in pictures. You see what I got to deal with, people?
I thought I said pornographic for a second. All right, here we go. My bad.
Geez, memory looks
Did you
great
know
in
any of the
pictures.
witnesses or individuals involved in an ongoing investigation related to the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe?
I did not.
On January 29th, 2022, did you receive some sort of a call to respond to a particular location? I don't want the address of the location. We'll get to that in a second. Did you receive some sort of a call in the afternoon?
I did.
Describe that for the jurors, please.
Around 2:30 in the afternoon, I received a call from the troopers assigned to the Norfolk District County DA's office. in regards to a vehicle that was at a residence in the town of Dayton.
What were you asked to do? Why did you get that call?
The troopers said that they were coming into my jurisdiction, and as a courtesy, they wanted me to respond with them.
Is that sort of normal protocol? If you go into somebody else's jurisdiction, you let them know?
Yes.
So that was not necessarily unusual.
No.
About what time did you receive that first call?
The first call was around 2:30 in the afternoon.
Was there are logs kept of those kinds of things? If you get a call, you respond to
Yes.
location?
Yes.
He's good at keeping time, people.
Yeah.
At some point after
like
you
this.
received that first call, did you receive any other call specifying a time of arrival for the MSP troopers, anything like that?
I did.
Describe that for us.
I got a second call around 3 p.m. From Trooper Michael Proctor stating that he was about 10 minutes away from the address in Dayton.
At the point that you spoke with Michael Proctor, had you ever spoken to him in your professional or personal capacity ever before?
Never.
Did you know the name? Did you know who he was?
I did not.
Complete stranger.
Complete stranger.
What time did you actually arrive at the residence?
I arrived at the residence, I believe it was 3:27 p.m.
I'm pausing that for a second. You see how specific he is? Ride-alongs? 3:27. He does this throughout the whole testimony. 3:27. It ended at 4:17. This is normal testimony. Cops, time is very, very important for police officers. I look at my watch. Still, when something happens, when I'm doing something, I'll look at my watch and notate the time. It's just a habit. But cops, when you read Miranda, you look at the time. Just like in nurses, you start compressions, you got to log the time. I love how he's doing this, and this is normal. Okay.
Well,
like when my kids make fun of me, like when I say, I'll never say I'm 5 minutes out or I'm 10 minutes out. I will give you an exact time. I've worked in the city for 25 years. I will say I'm 3 out, or I'm 7 out, or I'm 12 out, because I know how long it takes me. And my kids make fun of me, a little OCD, but I just know. So this is great. I like seeing it.
And the reason why that is because when you do your report, you do it in chronological order.
Yeah. Yeah. And time matters. Every minute matters. So that's why you have to be so precise in your reports.
Yep, exactly.
Sergeant Barros, I don't want the address, the cameras are rolling. Did you respond specifically to a residence in the city of Dayton?
Yes,
Did you at that time know who lived at that residence, who resided there?
I did.
How did you know that?
Early in the shift, when I came on at 8 a.m., the midnight shift, the outgoing shift, had told me that a resident of Dayton at that address had called looking for a ride to Brockton Hospital.
Who did you know at that time, or who did you believe at that time to live at the address that you are now responding to?
William Reed.
That was Reed, R-E-A-D?
Correct.
Okay. Did you know anything about his daughter at that time, or did you just know the name William Reed?
I just knew William Reed, the name.
At the time that Michael Proctor called you, did he say anything about what his intentions were once he arrived at the location?
Yes, his intention was to retrieve a vehicle that he said was involved in a homicide.
Did he specifically say to you at 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoon he intended to seize the vehicle?
I believe the first phone call, that was his intention.
Meaning all the way back to 2:30?
30 is when he first called me and said that they were coming to Dayton to retrieve a vehicle that that occurred in a homicide in Canton.
And you understood that to mean what? Retrieve a vehicle?
Seize.
Thank you.
Seize it. Yep.
What was your role once you arrived at the scene at the Reed household?
My role was Trooper Michael Proctor asked me to facilitate a tow to tow that vehicle.
Was that a private tow company?
Yes.
And when you say facilitated tow, what does that mean?
He asked who we used for towing vehicles, and during that period of time, it was Diamond Towing.
Did Diamond Towing ultimately show up, a representative of that
They did.
tow company with a tow truck?
Correct.
A flatbed?
Yes.
Usually ride-alongs, tow companies are contracted with the police, and every even month it's one tow company, and the odd months it's another tow company, because we do that here in Vegas, and I know some cops around, and that's what usually happens. So
Yeah, and it's because you don't want to monopolize
monopolize. Yeah,
monopolize the towing contract.
It's too much work, believe it or not. I mean, in Vegas, how many tows do you think we do a day here in Vegas, G?
Oh, geez. Hundreds.
50 to 100, easy.
Yeah,
Easy. 50 to 100 right off the bat. So see how you could overload that tow company. So that's why they take turns.
Yep.
So, all right.
Who was with Trooper Proctor when you arrived at the scene?
Sergeant Buchanan.
Had you ever met Sergeant Buchanan before?
Never.
Did you know him?
Nope.
Do you know him professionally or personally?
Never.
Had you ever spoken to him?
Never.
Ever? I'm so sorry.
Slow
It's getting
down.
late in the day.
Getting
And
tired.
I guess I'm going too fast.
Yeah.
Sorry, my fault.
Slow your roll, Jackson. Slow your roll.
Let's start that just a little bit slower. Did you know him?
No.
Had you ever spoken to him before?
No.
Had you ever heard his name before?
No.
No relationship whatsoever.
None.
Same with Trooper Proctor.
Correct.
Once you arrived at the residence, did you have an opportunity to see the vehicle that was the focus of Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan's attention?
Yes, once I arrived and I parked my cruiser at the end of the driveway, I observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway.
What were you driving?
I was driving a Ford F-150 police cruiser.
A police cruiser that's a Ford F-150?
Correct.
They have those?
Yes.
Yeah, we have them here in Vegas.
Were you in full uniform?
Full uniform.
Gun, badge, the whole works.
The whole works.
Oh, works nice.
Did you ever go inside the house?
Briefly,
What was the circumstance of going inside the house?
I went inside to let the troopers know that the tow truck operator was there. And I also went in to ask how we're going to get the tow truck into the driveway because there was about a foot of snow.
Okay. That sort of answers my next question. Did you see whether or not Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan actually did go inside the residence?
Yes, they did.
For the bulk of the time that they were in the residence, where were you?
Outside the residence.
Were you with the black SUV?
I was in the garage speaking to the defendant's mother.
The defendant's mom?
Yes.
Janet? Okay.
Yes.
Where was the SUV at this point?
In the driveway.
Did you have an opportunity to see the SUV?
I did.
Did you walk all the way around it?
Not all the way around.
Did you see the rear end of it?
I did.
Did you make note of the rear end of it?
Yes.
How long would you say you were at the location in a position to observe the rear end of that SUV?
The
2
whole-
minutes, 20 minutes, something in between? Longer?
I would say not the entire time that I was there, but a good amount of time.
More than a glance.
Yes.
This is the afternoon of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Before the vehicle had been seized formally by Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe anything of note about the rear end of that black SUV?
Yes, I noted in a report that there was damage to the taillight,
Can you describe for the juror, by the way, which taillight are we talking about?
the right rear taillight.
Can you describe for the jurors what you noted in terms of the damage to the right rear taillight?
I noted that the report said that there was right rear damage to that taillight.
When you say damage, have you ever described that damage previously?
I have.
Can you tell us what that
Yep.
description is?
There was, it was damaged, the taillight was damaged, but there was a crack missing, but it was not completely damaged.
When you say there was a crack, do you mean there was a piece missing?
A piece was missing.
Can you describe for the jurors kind of what that piece looked like, how big it was, how small, the shape, as you call it?
The piece was about maybe this big,
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, maybe 6 inches?
6 inches. or
And
so.
how wide?
Maybe that wide, maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, somewhere
Okay.
in there.
So the taillight I saw was obliterated.
Yeah, it was gone. It was gone. And the picture I think they show it at One Meadows. It's not a dollar bill size. It's this taillight, man. It's getting annoying.
Yeah, because I mean, man, it's getting confusing, man. Because the tail light I saw, the whole red area is gone.
It's gone, right?
Right. So if this is how much he's missing, right? That much, it's not going to generate 43 pieces.
No.
Something don't add up. The math isn't mathing.
The math ain't mathing.
Yeah. Those are all.
I want to show you a photo. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to show Exhibit 13. It's been previously marked.
And remember, he was like
Do you
5
see
to
what's
10 feet
depicted
away.
in this photograph?
I do.
What does that appear to be, just generally?
The right rear tail light.
Of what?
The Lexus SUV.
Is that consistent with the black Lexus SUV that you saw at the Reed residence?
I should have waited.
Was the black Lexus. That was not the tail light the day I was there.
Can you do me a favor, Mr. Walk? With the court's permission, could we zoom in on the right rear tail light, please?
Okay.
Do you see the condition of that tail light as it's depicted in this photo?
Yeah.
I do.
Sergeant Barros, is this the condition of the right rear tail light when you showed up at the Reed household at around 3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
Whoa.
What's different about this photo, sir?
Whoa.
That tail light is completely smashed out.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Gee. Remember, I forget the guy who picked up the evidence. Remember he picked up the piece? It was like the size of a boomerang.
Yeah.
Where are they getting all these pieces of this taillight? That taillight is not that big. How are they getting all these pieces and then 47 other small pieces?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, it's something.
Listen, you got a trained observer, right? And he was 5 to 10 feet away from the back of Karen Reed's Lexus.
Right.
And he says a dollar bill size was the only thing that was missing.
Right.
Okay. That's like $10 bills right there.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. The red piece up there in the corner would be like a dollar bill size, maybe a little bit
Exactly.
less. You know what I mean? Like that should be missing, and then the rest should be red. That should be white. Okay, maybe it's us, huh?
50-year-old
Does it appear
eyes
that there
not
are
going.
additional pieces of taillight that are removed from this taillight condition than when you saw it at the Reed residence? Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jones.
Okay.
Of course.
Whatever.
Describe specifically, other than the fact that it's different, describe in detail for the jurors what is different about this taillight as it's photographed here.
That middle section was intact when I was there. Towards that right side where that large chunk is, that's what was missing.
Okay.
I'm going to hand you a green laser pointer.
So would they put pieces back?
If you can, there's two displays, one monitor directly in front of you and one to your right. If you could use the one to your right, it's a little easier on the jurors. Describe what's different about that taillight.
Can you see that? So this area was intact. This is what I saw was missing here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
May I approach?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay, hold on a second. Pause it for a second.
If the entire taillight had
I got you. Hold on.
Okay, so listen. If there is a little piece of plastic broken from the most farthest right of the tail lamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say Karen Reed did hit John O'Keefe, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be relatively what I would expect the type of damage, just a little piece.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way they're showing it.
Right.
Right?
It's like I've always said, even if Karen hit Officer O'Keefe, did not do all the damage to his body, all the wounds, and it definitely would not shatter a light like that. Not at 24 miles an hour, not hitting an arm. It's not going to do that. Nope. So.
Been broken out as it's depicted in this photograph, would you have made note of that?
Sustained.
Do you believe you would remember if the taillight, well, let me ask it a different way.
He would have said it's shattered, completely shattered.
The piece that you saw missing, but not completely damaged, is the reason that you use the phrase not completely damaged to highlight the fact that there was still more taillight attached to the vehicle than is depicted in this photo.
Sustained.
We can take this down. As you sit here and recall back to that, your observations, and you observed this for over the course of how long would you say? How many minutes?
30.
Probably 20 minutes or so.
You actually wrote a report about this, correct?
Correct.
And you documented your observations, correct?
Correct.
In your documented observations, did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged?
I did not.
Sustained.
You've testified previously,
I have?
about a year ago.
Yes.
Did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged then?
The objection sustained, Mr. Jackson.
What the fudge?
Ultimately, was the black Lexus SUV towed and cleared from the scene?
It was.
Is it your responsibility or part of your responsibility to log the time that things like this happen, like for instance, the SUV is taken away?
When I cleared from the scene, yes.
What time was that when you cleared the scene?
I believe it was 4:17 p.m.
Suffice it to say that SUV was not seized at a later time, correct?
Correct.
It was not seized at 5:30 p.m.?
No.
I'd like to show you another exhibit, if I could. This is exhibit 105. Do you recognize this scene generally?
I do.
Do you recognize it as being, what do you recognize as being?
This is the Reed residence.
Do you see some vehicles in that still shot of the video?
I do.
Describe what you see.
That tow truck is Diamond Towing, and that other vehicle that's at the rear of that tow truck is the Lexus SUV.
If we could, with the court's permission, zoom in.
Yeah. Let's
It's
get
high
that.
on the screen, correct?
What's that?
The vehicles are high on the screen as we're
Correct.
looking at it. Could we zoom in to the top left portion of the screen?
Okay.
Get that tail light.
Can we play this video?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Jeez, that's close.
I know.
Can you
Bro,
see
it's there.
what's depicted in the still
can't.
image of that video right now?
I can.
I'm going to ask you if you'll turn to your right, concentrate on this area
Those numbers are in the way.
here.
Well, that's just the top of the frame.
Do you see what's depicted in that still image?
I do.
Does that appear to be a taillight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it look clear? Does it look like it's shining red?
Looks clear.
The portion that is intact, does that appear to be brighter red?
Correct.
And the photograph that I just showed you a second ago, is that red portion there?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Let's go back. You see the red?
Yes.
All right. Is that the condition of the taillight as you saw it on January 29th around 3:15 or 3:30 when you got to the location?
It was.
Let's go back to the other.
So this is after
Exhibit 13.
Karen allegedly
Yeah.
hit John.
Yep.
So it was still there after
Zoom
she
in,
hit.
please.
Yep.
Still there after
Can
she
you see
hit.
that this entire area is now missing?
I can.
Sustained.
Now it's magically
What?
completely.
Sure. The area that
Why-
I'm circling here, do you see any red lens in that area?
No.
Is that consistent, this photograph consistent with the condition of the taillight as you saw it on January 29th, 2022, at just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
I love his fortitude, man. I love.
Yep.
Lights, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
But Brennan,
Don't tell me this guy crumbles.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
you'll see.
Have we met before?
We have not.
Do you still work in Dayton?
I do.
At the time you went to the Reed residence, you did not know the occupants?
I did not.
Since then, have you ever met or spoke to William Reed
Nope.
or the defendant?
Nope.
When you went there that day, it was at the request of the state police?
Correct.
When they asked you to come, it's a typical procedure for one law enforcement agency to contact local law enforcement agency?
Correct.
And part of the reason they do that is to bring in separate and independent law enforcement officer to the scene,
Yes.
because it's your jurisdiction.
Correct.
And they called you before they got to Mr. Reed's house, didn't they?
Yes.
They told you what they were going to do and when they were going to do it.
Yes.
They didn't just show up at the Reed house and then you found out later. They invited you and informed you what the process was going to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that they
Process.
told me what the process was going to be.
When you got there, were the troopers already there or did they arrive after you?
The troopers were there.
Were they in the house or outside of the house when you got there?
They were outside in a pickup truck.
Did you see them get out of the pickup truck after you got there?
They got out after I identified themselves.
Did you ever see them approach and touch the rear taillight of the defendant's Lexus?
I did not.
Did you ever see them
Not there, they didn't.
manipulate in any way that rear taillight of the defendant's Lexus?
I did not.
Did you see them do anything that was suspicious, inordinary, or unfairly remarkable relative to that car?
I did not.
When they spoke to
do it
you,
privately.
they then went inside the house?
What do you mean by spoke to me?
After they introduced you, you introduced yourself to them, they went into the Reed house,
Yes.
and then they came out.
They came out much later.
And that vehicle was towed.
Correct.
At no time from when you got there until you left, did you see anybody from the state police in any way tamper with that vehicle, did you?
I did not.
When the
You didn't, right?
vehicle was towed, you know how long it took to take the vehicle from Dayton back to Canton?
How long?
Yes.
I do not.
You didn't escort it back.
I did not.
You had an opportunity to write a report in this case, didn't you?
I did.
And when you did, you had an opportunity to describe the damage to that taillight in any way you wanted to.
I did.
You could have gone into detail about size of the damage.
I could have.
You could have gone into detail about the shape of the damage.
I could have.
You could have gone into detail about the width of the damage.
I could have.
Wish you
could have
did.
taken photographs of the damage if you wanted to.
I could have.
In fact, there was no limitation on what you could have written in your report regarding the damage, was there?
No.
You write reports regularly, don't you?
I do.
You're trained at the academy. It's the best way to memorialize events.
Correct.
Because in time, your memory is not always as good later on than it is at that moment.
Correct.
What might be important or remarkable later might not be remarkable at the time you're making the observation.
Correct.
So you're taught at the academy to use as much detail as you can so that you can have an accurate memory later on.
Correct.
Because oftentimes, well, you respond to a number of different events and incidents, don't you?
I do.
You write a lot of reports.
Not necessarily now in this position that I'm in, but
Did you at the time?
at the time, correct.
Yeah. And so it's sometimes difficult to remember the details of all events, and you use the report to refresh your memory.
Correct.
When you wrote your report, and you could have put as much detail as you wanted, is it fair to say you only wrote one single line about the damage to the car?
Correct.
The vehicle had damage to the right rear taillight.
That's what I wrote.
Fair to say you didn't document that it was the size of a dollar bill. You didn't say that, did you?
No.
Or that it was 3 to 6 inches. You didn't mention that, did you?
No.
You didn't mention the placement of where the damage was.
Yep, exactly. 1,000 words.
To an extent, I did the right rear tail light.
Right rear taillight. You didn't indicate if it was on the side or on the back.
I did not.
You didn't provide any other details of your description when your memory was probably at its best. True?
True.
And would you agree that your memory that day was probably much more accurate than it is today?
I would not.
When you wrote the report, did you ever have an opportunity to write a supplement report if you wanted to give more detail?
I guess I could.
You didn't.
I did.
Inevitably, you were a witness at trial. You were a witness at a prior proceeding in this case, weren't you?
Correct.
And you came in and you swore under oath regarding your memory.
Correct.
And that was probably a year to a year and a half after you first made the observations which you reduced in writing in the police report.
Correct.
And when you made those observations, that was on January 29, 2022?
Correct.
When you came into court and you testified, that was on June 10, 2024.
If that was the date.
You were asked questions to use your best memory to describe the damage to that taillight last time you swore under oath to tell the truth, weren't you?
This is where he starts.
I don't think I was asked that.
What were you asked about to describe the best you could the damage to that right rear tail light last time you were in court on June 10, 2024?
What?
I don't think I was told to describe it in depth.
Yeah.
Were you asked questions about
That's not even his
the
case.
damage to that rear tail light last time you were in court?
I was.
And when you described the damage, did you do your best of your ability to give as much detail as possible?
I did.
Did you qualify your memory at that time, saying to the best of my ability and recollection?
I did.
And when you qualify as a police officer with the best ability and recollection, that is recognizing that time had passed,
Time has passed, yep.
that you had a report, that you could refresh your memory.
Correct.
And did you refresh your memory with that report before you testified last time?
No shit.
I did.
And when you qualified that it was to the best of your ability and recollection, that account for the fact that when you looked at the report, there was no detail other than your commentary in your report that the vehicle had damage to the right rear taillight.
Correct.
And so when you qualified, you were considering human factors like time had passed,
Correct.
that your report was respectfully scant,
Correct.
that you had heard a lot about this case since that point, hadn't you?
Correct.
You notice how he's kind of shrinking a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's talking about his memory. I don't know about you, G, but when my memory calls me collect, I always answer. I get that recollection. Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
sure.
I don't understand why he's kind of, I don't know, shrinking a little bit. You know?
Well, I tell you why, Brian, and I can totally put myself in his position, right? He's saying you're supposed to take notes, you're supposed to take detailed notes and exact notes, take measurements, stuff like that. That's stuff that you're supposed to do when you're in charge of the investigation, right? Yeah. So he's playing on all the cues that he's thinking to himself, man, I should have done that. Man, I should have done that. Yeah. And so he's beating himself down mentally, internally. That's why he's going down range.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. Now that you mention it. Yeah. He's like slowly regretting, like, damn, why didn't I do this? Damn, why didn't I do that? Sometimes as a cop, you get we always talk about your spider sense, sometimes like somebody put up here pictures worth 1,000 words. Yeah. As a cop, sometimes you got to go with your instincts and go, you know what? Something's not right with this. You know what? Let me just, especially in today's digital world, let me take a couple of pictures of this because something might come of this. Yeah. I think every cop has done that at least a couple times in their career. I know IFG has, but nothing at this extent. But sometimes you have to go with your gut and say, you know what, if this ain't right. Because I remember they said Proctor said he had a homicide vehicle in less than 12 hours.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So him as another officer, and homicide vehicle, 12 hours. Okay. Me, I'd be like, let me hear some details. Of course, you don't know what you're going to get though, right? You don't know what Proctor's going to tell you. Because cops always want to know the details, right? It's kind of morbid, but we always want to know the details. When we hear an accident, like, oh, what happened? How bad was it? Let me hear the injuries,
Yeah, so, exactly.
We're kind of messed up.
And so considering your memory in June of 2024, when you qualified your answer, was it considering all of those different factors that had passed in between that time?
Can you rephrase that?
Yes. When you decided to qualify your answer and you said to the best ability and recollection, and then you went on to describe what you remember from the break of the taillight, is the reason why you used that qualification to the best ability and recollection, is it because of those human factors that had passed?
I would suppose so.
And sir, since the time you came into court on June 10, 2024, have you spoken to anybody from the defense about this case?
Yes.
How many times have you spoken to somebody from the defense about this case after you gave your testimony on June 10, 2024?
Once.
Where did you speak? Who did you speak to?
Attorney Jackson.
In person or on the phone?
In person.
Okay, don't. Okay. You're not hesitating, are you?
No.
Where did
Oh,
you
Jesus
Attorney-
Christ.
At his hotel.
How did you know where Attorney Jackson was staying?
He told me.
Did you find it odd to go visit an attorney at their hotel and talk about the case?
It was in their conference room.
Yeah.
Find it odd. to go to
No.
somebody's hotel to speak to them about a case.
No.
No.
Without saying the name of the hotel, where was the hotel located?
Boston.
And where were you located?
I don't feel comfortable telling you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you have to drive?
I did.
So you took the effort to go to see Jackson, but you know who Mr. Jackson was?
I did. I did.
When you went there to the hotel in the conference room, who else was there?
Attorney Little.
Okay. Who else?
I'm not sure of the other gentleman's name.
It was one of the gentlemen right here on the end.
What was that noise? Is that you breathing, G?
I'm
I
not
hear you
breathing.
breathe. Hold your breath for the rest of the video.
Hold on for a
Oh,
second.
it
Pause
was
it.
not.
You sound like Darth Vader, man. I feel like I'm being invaded by the Empire.
Bam, 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 bam. Listen, so it's the same thing that Brennan does with his witnesses,
Yeah.
right?
He bores
Same
them to
thing.
death.
Right.
Bores
thing
them
that-
to death.
When you have your witness, you're going to talk to him and get your story outlined,
Yeah.
right? How you're going to
Yeah.
proceed. So this is not uncommon, but he's just making it look bad for the jurors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stupid.
His questioning is, drives me nuts.
Somebody else.
Okay. Was there anybody else there?
No.
When you were in that conference room, were you shown your police report?
No.
Were you shown your testimony from the last time you came into court?
No.
The photograph of the vehicle in Sallyport, or the vehicle with the missing glass, were you shown that?
No.
Had you ever seen that photo before?
Of course.
And you saw it at the last event you testified at, right?
Correct.
And when you were shown that photo during your prior testimony, you never, ever suggested that that was in any way different than what you had seen indicted.
Nobody asked me that.
When you were asked to describe the damage, and you were shown that photograph, you never, ever suggested that there was a difference in the damage as you see it in that photo compared to what you remember.
I don't think anybody asked me to describe that.
Did you ever make a note or say anything that is similar to what you remember at the last event that you testified at?
I testified that that was not the taillight the day that I saw it.
That's what you testified at the last event?
Did.
Yes?
Yes.
You said that photo does not depict what you saw?
Correct.
Yes?
Yes.
And when you testified to that at the last event, who was asking you that question?
District Attorney Lally.
Okay. And you remember making that comment under oath?
I do.
Do you remember that as well as your memory about what the taillight looked like back in Dayton?
I do.
When you were asked questions about that taillight, you had described the taillight as not completely damaged, it was cracked, and there was a piece missing but not completely damaged. Remember that testimony?
I do.
And is that accurate testimony?
It's accurate.
So in your memory, in June 10, 2024, was that vehicle's rear tail light had a piece missing, correct?
Correct.
You said that your memory about the damage to the tail light, as you recall it when you were in Dayton back on January 29, 2022, you said your memory is as good as your memory that you said in court there was a difference between that photo and the damage, right?
Right.
What do you got your mics at, Gonzo?
I'm way back here, bro.
I know, but your chair was leaning back. It sounded like a friggin' rocks falling and shit.
It doesn't make any
Have you
noise.
ever read your testimony from your last
All
proceeding?
right, must be something
Never.
else. Is it me?
But you have
I
a
don't even have a
specific
chair.
memory of discussing that specific photograph. Yes?
Yes.
Any approach?
Yes.
So the photograph's got to be from One Meadows. Right, I think,
I'm going
because
to
he.
show you your transcript of sworn testimony on June 10, 2024. And when you reflect on your memory, understanding some time has passed, you've testified that your memory of distinguishing that photo is reflected in your testimony, right? Yes.
So ask the question differently.
Okay. Your memory is that you discussed the distinction between that photo and what you saw at the last time you testified. Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
Of course you are, Bev.
I have to take a look at there.
Of course you
Could
are.
you show me anywhere in your testimony?
Anything to help out,
Anywhere,
right? Bev?
where you made any statement
Hmm.
about that photo being inconsistent with what you saw in Dayton on January 29, 2022.
I don't like Brendan at all. When he does this to people, especially with Dr. Russell, it makes me want to physically hurt him. You know. And so right now he's probably reading something different than he remembered, right? That's why Hank brought it to him.
Yeah,
Fine.
probably.
Can I approach?
Yes.
Why else would you give it to him, right?
I can put it back on. Thank you. So respectfully, sir, your memory about distinguishing that photo is not as you thought it was and claimed it was in this transcript, correct?
Correct.
And that's not a matter of you trying to fool anybody or lying, is it?
No.
No, it's a matter of time passes and memory fades. Yes?
Yes.
And that's one real example why at the academy, they teach you when you write reports to be as detailed as you can. To accommodate the fact that memories can fade.
According to Jen McCabe, memories get better in time. And Brennan's breaking balls about this guy not doing a report. What about the reports that Sarah from Mulaney and all those guys did, and how they did a report a couple years later?
Yeah. Everything gets better with them, but not with this guy.
Yeah. So what about that? That's not a problem, right? That's fine. Everybody can, or a dead officer, you could do the report 2 years later or a year later, fine. But you're breaking this guy's balls. Whatever.
Right?
Correct.
Memories can change.
Not according to Jim McCabe, sir.
I know what I saw, and that wasn't it.
Well, that's not what I'm asking you, because you just testified that under oath, you had looked at that photo and distinguished it. But that's not accurate, is it?
No.
And so it's not a matter of you perjuring yourself or lying, it's a matter of difficulties with memory, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Correct.
And you share those same difficulties with memory.
What the hell did he just read? Because why would he say, no, man, my memory's solid as a rock? What I said last time sticks today. What's the fucking problem?
I would like to know what he read.
What is he backpedaling so much? You know what I mean? Hey, that's what I said. This is what it is. It's in the report. This is what it is. I don't know what he showed him.
Many other objection.
Sustained.
You have.
Hey, at least she's staying one for Jackson.
Difficulties with memory at times, correct?
Correct.
And so that very.
Are you admitting to that?
Memory you had about your testimony last year, fair to say that never happened.
Correct.
You were simply mistaken, weren't you? Or something more, please tell me.
Correct.
What? What? Dude, he crumbled like a cookie, dude.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got a bad.
I know what
he's
I
saying,
saw, and that's not it. Then what
he's
is
saying,
it?
He's saying, well, you have problems with your memory, don't you? Well, maybe. Do you? I mean, if you do, then I guess you should say you do. But if you don't, be like, I don't have a problem with my memory. Sir, do you? Because my report's there, and it's right here. This is what I saw. Nothing's changing.
Stupid. I'm so disappointed.
What did he read? People, chat. Does
When you
anybody
met
know?
with the
What was on
attorneys
that
in
paper
Boston,
that made this man
what'd you talk
switch?
about?
It was just a way for them to meet with me and see me face to face, and then ask me how I would be subpoenaed, who would they need to send a court summons to, what my schedule was like coming up in the next month, months.
Those things all could have been accomplished by phone, correct?
Could have.
So the face-to-face meeting, what did you talk about?
None of your fucking business, dude.
Over here.
What the fuck? We know what I had for breakfast too?
Okay.
Over here.
Did you eat all the marshmallows out of the Lucky Charms first? He asked the dumbest, weirdest shit.
You told us there was some background about being subpoenaed and time. Substantively, what did you talk about with the attorneys when you met them at their hotel conference room?
Other than that, they didn't go over my testimony. We just spoke about that I said that the taillight was not completely damaged.
Okay. Did you get into any detail about the conversation about your testimony today?
No,
When did you meet with them?
I don't have the date.
Last year, this year?
I don't have the date. I don't recall the date.
I'm not looking for a date, just the general year frame. Last year, this year?
Probably
Come on, man. You got this.
June. Early in this year.
Are you having some difficulty with memory about that as well?
On a certain date, yes.
Are you a fucking doctor, Brendan?
This year, probably? Do you think you met them?
This guy.
This year.
Do you know what month you met them this year?
I wouldn't know the month.
So
Why wouldn't you
talk about?
Why wouldn't you know all this when you're going to court, man? Come on.
This guy did not help his case right now. Are you having problems with remembering a date? And he's questioning about a picture that he looked at, when he was at the Karen Reed's house.
I know. I gave him all these props. Gave him all these props for knowing that he's logging the times perfectly. But now he's starting to look at even his shoulders. He's like this now.
Yeah.
Before he was like, "What's up?" Now he's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I want to get out of here." Right? Look at his body posture. Right? Look at his
Yeah.
face. He's looking almost defeated. What was on that piece of paper? Did we get anything from the chat yet?
It was the first testimony from the first trial. That's what I saw.
But we just watched the testimony from the first.
Yeah. Man, oh man,
Hank's
God,
such a
I hope-
snake, man. He's such a snake.
This issue with the taillight, didn't you?
Yes.
When you talk about issue with the taillight, did anybody from the defense offer you any opinions or information?
No.
Did they ask you questions about it?
No.
So you went to a meeting in a Boston hotel in a conference room.
Which is
You
normal.
talked about the taillight? Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Of course you are.
They
Sir,
ju-
I'll ask you another question instead. Have you had an opportunity to see other evidence of that taillight being damaged that morning before you saw it?
On the 29th of January? No.
The video that was shown to you with the tow truck, had you seen that before today?
Yes.
Who showed it to you?
From seeing it on TV and
Was it shown to you during your conference room meeting at the hotel?
it was not.
So you looked and studied and watched this case a little bit?
With all due respect, sir, I don't live under a rock. It's all over social media and the news. You can't avoid it.
I'm not criticizing you or discounting you, I'm just asking you. Have you been exposed to this case since you made those observations indicted on January 29, 2022?
I have.
Have you seen other video footage and evidence about that taillight since January 29, 2022?
I have.
Have you seen other information since you last testified last summer about the taillight?
I have.
And seeing this extraneous information, this other information, do you think that played a part in some of your difficult memory? Objection.
I'm
No!
gonna allow that.
That is totally leading.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Of course he fucking allows it. He's basically telling him he's got a fucked up memory.
You've seen quite a bit of information about this case and the issue regarding the taillight since you first made the observations back in 2022. Would that be fair to say?
It would be fair to say.
And based on all the additional information you've read and seen, would you agree it's had some effect on your memory?
I guess.
No.
Should have guessed. You testified that you made explanations at the last trial that you didn't make, right?
Correct.
You had a memory as you testified in direct examination under oath, and you tried your best about things that just didn't happen, right?
Right.
Would you agree that you have some difficulty with your memory?
I'd agree.
I want to show you some evidence of that taillight before you had a chance to see it indicted. If we could have the ring video at 5:07:58, please.
He started so strong too, G.
Have you seen this video before, sir?
Yeah, he
I
did,
have.
man. He was doing good.
Okay, before you proceed, Ms. Gunn, have you seen this on social media?
The news, social media.
Has anybody else shown you this video?
No.
How many times do you think you've been exposed to this video?
Who cares? Play the thing.
Too many to count.
Because you were involved in this case, and I'm going to say as a predicate, there were no orders for you not to look at anything. I'm not suggesting any impropriety. But because you were involved in this case and issues regarding the taillight, do you think you had a particular interest when things like this came on TV and social media to take a look to compare to your memory?
Did I have a
Yes.
particular interest? No, I didn't follow this case
But you've seen this many, many times.
because of what is out there on social media
Yeah.
and the news.
It's everywhere.
Yep.
Who played this, please?
Biggest case in the world. What do they call it? The millennials OJ?
Yeah, we
Just
should.
curious.
Stop, please. Do you see that white part of the
Mhm.
back rear artillery?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
For
God
sure.
damn, Bev.
See that,
She allows everything for Hank
sir?
and nothing for Jackson.
Can you zoom in a little bit more? I can.
Can or cannot?
I can.
Can, C-A-N can?
Yes.
Thank you. Continue, please. Continue. Stop. Bring it back, stop. Back more. Open, right there. Zoom, please. You see, sir?
I can see that.
Is that consistent with the damage that you saw when you looked at that Lexus in Dayton hours later?
Consistent.
Can we go to Exhibit 10, please? And before you show it, I have a couple questions. This was a snowstorm, kind of like a blizzard that day.
Yes.
And when you got to the driveway, it had not been shoveled or plowed.
Correct.
There was quite a bit of snow accumulating and ongoing.
Yes.
And there was snow coming down on top of everything, the ground, the streets, the cars, correct?
Correct.
And snow was accumulating, did you notice, on cars and packing onto cars?
Yes.
When you looked at this house, when you looked at the defendant's Lexus in Dayton, you didn't go over and scoop out any of the snow that was in that broken taillight, did you?
I did not.
You didn't try to remove any snow off it or that was accumulated inside of it?
I did not.
And the snow there was snow packed on that car, wasn't there?
There was.
There was snow packed around the light, wasn't it?
There was.
And would you agree with the snow, since you didn't tamper with it or try to remove anything, that could impede your ability to accurately observe the depth of the damage? Would you agree with that?
I would.
If we could have Exhibit 10, please. Does that appear to be the same Lexus you looked at when it was in Dayton? And it's a far view, so I don't want you to guess. If you're not sure, you can tell me.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. I can't.
We have Exhibit 11, please. Can you take a look to the right? See that right tail light, the white part?
I can.
Missing, yes?
Looks like snow is packed on it.
Does it look like there's a red tail light there?
Does not.
This is before you saw the car in Dayton? Do you know that, or you wouldn't know that?
That doesn't look like the Reed's driveway.
Do you know if this photograph was taken before or after you made your observations in Dayton?
I do not.
The right rear tail light and the missing parts of it, is that consistent with what you saw around 3:27 on January 29, 2022?
Yes.
Hank needs to walk over to the mic.
If no further questions.
Oh, now you do.
Lights on, please.
Do all the questioning away from the mic.
I'll be brief. Sergeant,
I
did you
like
celebrate
this.
your birthday 2 years ago?
I did.
Kind of a big deal. It's your birthday, right?
Yes.
What day of the week was your birthday 2 years ago?
No idea.
Do you have a difficult memory, sir?
Yes.
The fact that you had a birthday, you recall.
Why'd you say that?
Correct.
The day of the week of that birthday may fall by the wayside in your mind, right?
Of course.
Right.
Sustain us to the form, Mr. Jackson, as
Of
your
course.
witness.
Can't even ask the guy's birthday.
The fact that you can't remember the day of the week, does that mean that you have a bad memory?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
Correct.
It's too late, though. You already said
Remember-
that you did.
Being in Dayton, correct? Being called out to Dayton to the residents of the Reeds.
Correct.
Do you remember the time?
I do.
Do you remember the weather?
I do.
Do you remember who you met there?
I do.
Do you remember the conversations that you had?
I do.
Do you remember the phone calls that you received?
I do.
The first one?
I do.
The second one?
I do.
Do you remember being in the garage and speaking with someone?
I do.
Remember it was this lady, pretty lady right here in blue?
I do.
You remember meeting Mr. Reed,
Briefly.
handsome gentleman with the gold tie?
I do.
You remember all that?
Memory's good, bro.
Do you remember the SUV?
I do.
Do you remember the condition of the taillight?
I do.
You were asked whether or not you saw Trooper Proctor in any way manipulate that right rear taillight while it was out at Dighton, while you were there, correct?
Correct.
You said no. Honestly, I never saw him touch it, right?
Correct.
Were you in the Sally Port in Canton PD? I'm sorry, in Canton, in the Sally Port at the police station
I wasn't.
at 5:30 p.m.? At any point, did you ever go to the Sally Port at Canton PD that day?
I did not.
Do you have any idea what did or didn't happen inside the Sally Port?
Objection.
He doesn't.
You were asked by Mr. Brennan, you could have taken photos had you wanted to, correct?
Correct.
And certainly you could have, right?
Correct.
Was that your vehicle that was being seized?
No.
You were simply there to assist another officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Mr. Jackson.
Of course. What were you there to do?
Just to assist another agency.
Would it have been normal protocol for you to photograph that vehicle?
No.
Did you see Trooper Proctor photograph the vehicle?
No.
Did you see Sergeant Buchanan photograph the vehicle?
No.
And it's their case. They should have. Absolutely.
Yep.
But we know why they didn't. We all know why they didn't.
By the way,
Yeah.
you and I did meet once before, correct?
Correct.
Secrets.
Was that before or after you testified last year at another hearing?
After.
And you were called by whom last year at the other hearing? The defense or the Commonwealth?
The Commonwealth.
You testified for them?
Correct.
So that's stricken, it's beyond the scope.
What? You all hired him.
Did the Commonwealth ever contact you after your testimony at the hearing last year?
They did not.
Did they ever call
Wonder
you
why.
on the telephone?
Yeah.
After?
Correct.
No.
Did they ever send you a subpoena?
No.
They send you a Christmas card.
And you
No.
testified last year that the taillight was cracked, but not, or damaged, but not completely broken, correct?
Sustained.
She's a
You and I
twat,
met
bro.
in a hotel in a conference room, correct?
Correct.
Anything sketchy or nefarious about that?
No,
No.
not at all.
Did I introduce myself to you?
You did.
You happen to know I live in Los Angeles?
Correct.
I don't have a house,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
I don't have an office out here, correct?
Sustained.
Do you know whether or not I have an office?
I do not.
You remember me asking you if you would mind meeting at a hotel where I was staying in a conference room?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any problem with that?
Nope.
Do you find that unusual?
No.
No, because it's not. Hank's trying to make it seem like it is, but it's not.
Nefarious.
Yeah.
Did you and I ever speak, ever, before your testimony last year?
No.
Did I ever tell you how I wanted you to testify?
No.
Did I ever tell you what to say?
No.
Did I show you any testimony?
No.
Did I play you any video?
No.
Did I show you a single photograph?
No.
During that conversation, did you tell me how to subpoena you?
I did.
Did you tell me where the subpoena should be directed?
I did.
Did you tell me your vacation schedule?
I did.
Did you tell me your availability and willingness to testify?
I did.
That's all you have to
Talk
do.
about any other thing of substance other than that and whether or not you recalled what your testimony was from last year.
That was all we talked about.
Sounds good.
As you sit here, Sergeant Barrows, do you have any difficulty recalling what the condition of that taillight was on January 29th, 2022, at about 3 or 3:15 in the afternoon when you saw the view? Any
No.
difficulty whatsoever?
No.
You remember the condition of that taillight?
I do.
Was the condition of that taillight the same as the photo that I showed you on my direct examination? No.
you would agree that your memory has changed since last time you testified in this courthouse?
No.
Yes.
In the photo I showed you, the close-up with the missing right rear tail light, is that consistent with your memory of what you saw in Dayton on January 29, 2022?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it. It was
Of course
opened
you
up. It was opened up.
Is it consistent with what you saw on January 29, 2022?
It is.
Thank you.
All right, Sergeant, you are all set. sir.
Thank you.
Well,
that was tough to watch, just because I can relate on how he broke down. Right.
yeah.
I can totally understand that. And listen, Brendan's job is to discredit him, right? Because they knew that he was damaging to their case, right?
Yep.
And he did his job, right? He made him shake, made him quiver, and change his story a little bit, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But do you think it was enough for the jury to see that?
Well, I don't think there's a level, you know what I mean? I think everyone's going to take it for what it is. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot or change the outcome, but everybody perceives or what they hear differently, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's really going to change a whole lot. I think it's just a little notch for Brennan.
Did a good job.
You know what I mean? He did. And I just wish the Barrows would have came in with the same fortitude he had in the beginning. And I don't understand why he's all of a sudden admitting he's got a problem with his memory. It wasn't a problem at all. And then at the end, Hank brings it up, and he's just like, oh yeah, so basically he's like, so your memory sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you even say that? Wait, I don't understand that. If your report's done and you did a good job, just say this is what I did and stick with that. I don't get that.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think, and I said this from this very beginning, the dark horse is going to be Bev, right? She's allowing everything that Brennan objects to, and nothing that AJ does.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah,
So she's still guiding it.
Yep, she's still leading the dance, people. She's still leading the dance. We got any super chats we got to hit, G?
I don't know. I don't know how to do this damn thing. Hold on. Let's see here.
What did we get? Did we show this one? Super chat? Amanda. The Amanda. So I worry about him and Lucky. Should I worry about him? I don't know. What do you think, G?
Nah.
You got the Sopranos back there. You got the Alberts running Canton.
I just wish he would have stuck to his guns a little bit more, honestly.
Yeah. What did you guys think, chat? What did you guys think about the do you think it did any damage? Did we show this one already?
Yeah, I think so. Man, it just pisses me off that Bev does. She's so biased on this thing, dude.
I know, and somebody actually asked me in the chat in the comments, do you think she's biased? And I was like, yeah, man. Have you been watching this? Like, she pretty much lets Hank do what he wants and sticks it to Jackson. I said, yeah, she seems biased to me. I'm sorry, but she does.
Somebody in the chat said, I wish we had Lally back. Me too, man. I don't like this Brennan guy one bit. He's just a snake, like the guy on your shirt.
Yeah, he is a snake. Yeah, he is a snake. All right. So we want to wrap this up. We'll let you guys get to bed.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, Steve's not around, so we're going to just end this ourselves. So we appreciate all the support as always. We just passed 25,000 subs, so thank you. We are honored and humbled that you even like us.
By the way, I figured out what was going on with my volume. My gain was all the way up.
You're always about them gains, dude. You got to chill. You're messing with my gains, man.
I'm here, a fly across the room with my gain turned. So.
All right. Did we miss any super chats? I don't know. I feel bad because I don't know which ones we did. I was too busy paying attention to the testimony. Did we get this one? Yeah, we got that one. I think, did we?
I think we got all of them. If you go up to the top where it says live on the chat and you go to the stars, Brian, see where it says live and then it says star 24.
What? No. What?
On StreamYard.
Where am I looking?
Where chat is.
Chat's
the
over
very
on the right.
top, It says, okay, it says live on the very top.
Mine doesn't say live. Oh, yeah, live.
And then starred.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
Click on that.
Oh, look at that. New member. All right. Oh, it gives me all the, look at that, people. Double B's learning. I'm always learning. Are you making fun of me?
No, send us out, Steve.
All right.
Fine.
All right. Thanks for spending the night with us. We appreciate it. This was kind of impromptu. As always, we fly by the seat of our pants. What? What's the matter?
No, it's coughing.
Oh, okay. Just making sure you're all right. All right. So, got a lot coming up. So, thanks for watching.
And for those still serving, have a safe tour of duty, please.
Make a difference in someone's life. Stay classy, Las Vegas.
Always.
Peace.
1 Sam 5 and 1 Sam 6, copy of 425 call.
Copy. 1 Sam 5 en route.
1 Sam 6, copy, en route.
All right, dog.